Hello everybody, welcome to my 9th Resistance 3 weapons review and class setup. Today we're doing the Atomizer. This is going to be my 9th. Wait, I think I just said that. Oh, well. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop into this. The Atomizer is now... It used to be a favorite among Resistance players. If you haven't seen it around, well, you probably are new because not a lot of people use this weapon anymore these days. A lot of people used to use it a lot back then. I mean a lot. And now all it is now is a wildfire, and that's pretty hell in itself. But I'm running with the Decoy and Assassin as the abilities, and for attributes I have Tracker and Scanjammer. I am using this weapon, of course, as a close quarter combat weapon, but this is the first among the elemental weapons in the elemental category. There is two, like I said before. And of course I'm running with the shrapnel because it's my grenade of my choice. You can pick whichever grenade you wish to use. It was actually a 5 or 6v1 this match, but I go ahead and clean off quite a good kill, a few good kills I mean. This was a 1-round match after all, since nobody was in the second round, so I decided to go ahead and cut it there. Well, let's go ahead and get into why I'm using the attributes and why I'm using the abilities. Decoy, I found, was a quite useful ability. A long time ago, I used to not use it at all, and I used to think it was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Was, in fact, Decoy. But I realized there's a trick to using it, and it's simple, but kind of, presbyterian idea, I guess. Where, Decoy is a little hologram that deploys whenever you set it down on the ground, and it kind of activates as a somewhat doppelganger just in place, I guess. Whereas doppelganger follows you, this one kind of stays in place. And, sometimes the enemies are pretty much easily trickable, and you could possibly potentially get them to shoot your decoy instead. And I use that as a kind of foliage to where if I'm going in somewhere, I don't want anybody to track me down, I can deploy a decoy and get inside the building. I use the Atomizer as a flank-only weapon. Of course, I use it in front of people as well, but I do use it as that. And I use Assassin with it so I can break into places so where enemies cannot find me, technically. And that is where I honestly think it probably comes in handy in my form of work, in my kind of eyes. The attributes I used was, of course, Tracker. Why Tracker? Because, well, it seems to be a useful attribute to me, along with the idea of flanking and kind of close quarter combat situations that I had to get inside of. And other than that, you can use it for really anything. I mean, you can use any attribute you really want, but I, of course, do go Tracker with it. Kind of like the shotgun I used it on, the Rossmore. I believe I did use it on there. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. It's been a while. My other attribute that I did use was Scanjammer for those, once again, close quarter engagement battles that I seem to get into, because the Atomizer only works up close quarters anyway. It has no range to it at all. It does have a range, but it doesn't have, like, extremely can go anywhere. It can't just shock out of anywhere and hit somebody like a laser gun. You have to be up close, and that is where it's most deadly. Now, taking out a guy with an Atomizer is easy if you aim for the head, as they cannot honestly aim for the head. But you can get a headshot with the Atomizer if you are lucky enough, or presbyterian enough, I guess you could say. Well, then again, Scanjammer, allows me to kind of not be spotted, all that good stuff. Tracker, I can see footsteps, all that good stuff. We've seen this stuff before, so it's really kind of just banging on the bush again, I guess, Now, let me go ahead and explain the primary fire. The primary fire is a electric coil chimera weapon that shoots out kind of like, again, an electric coil onto the enemy, which can be held down. And the Atomizer has the fastest rate of fire in the game total. Adding air-cooled barrel on it could be a smart idea. I've done it myself before, so I've gotten away with a few kills that way. Yeah, using the air-cooled barrel attribute is a potential kill. More than likely, it doesn't. I believe it doesn't increase the rate of fire, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really seen any kind of damage increase. I gotta probably play a custom game and fight somebody that way. Check that out. The upgrade is an arc shot, which allows you to hit multiple enemies at once. Kind of like the electric belt upgraded, when somebody hits you and they get shocked all over the place. Yada yada yada. Now the secondary is a well. That's what they call it. They call it the well, where you shoot it out, and anybody crossed in the fire of it will get shocked and kind of slowed down to where they can't really break out of it. It's kind of like a little leash that hangs on to them. They try to run away, and then it will disappear after a short period of time. Then you get the Well of Doom, and that allows you to shoot out, a secondary, which lasts a tad bit longer, does a little bit more damage. After all, it doesn't really do that much damage. Campaign-wise, it sure as hell does. On multiplayer, it doesn't really do much because it's multiplayer. It has to be balanced. And after it's done, it kind of just explodes, and that will do increased damage among the enemies in it. I don't know if it does more damage with more enemies. I'm not sure. I think it just does damage overall. It cannot be used on... Actually, I believe it can be used on items, but then again, it doesn't do that all good of damage. It probably won't really honestly take it out. So you gotta be careful with that. Now, let me go back into my abilities. Let me explain the decoy a little bit more. Whenever I put the decoy down, I kind of put it down before I enter a door, or kind of like before I enter a place or something like that, where I'm gonna go flank. Just in case somebody decides to come around the corner and sees my decoy and it's like, oh hey, look, an easy target. I'll shoot him, and then he'd be surprised that, well, it's not me. That would actually register on my radar that I see him, and that he actually can't see me, because more than likely, if we're in the same building, the scan jammer will probably go ahead and destroy his radar to where I have an advantage over him. Yeah, scan jammer is a little bit useless, I guess, but I find it useful in close quarter engagements. Kind of helps me hide away, because I do pay attention, me myself, I do pay attention a lot to the radar and kind of watch on that and make sure nobody is behind me or anything like that. Now, Assassin will allow me to turn into the enemy when upgraded. We have seen Assassin before, just I haven't really actually, I don't think I've really used it in the video fully, but it was used on the M5A2. I used it there. It basically allows me to turn into the enemy, kind of infiltrate their base, get inside and take out who I need to take out without being seen. And that's where the scan jammer once again comes into play, as the assassin and the scan jammer kind of complement each other. Scan jammer, I cannot be seen on the radar in general, but if an enemy actually was farther away from my scan jammer and I couldn't block him out, that's where assassin would become useful, because it will allow me to suppress my weapon and keep off the radar at that period of time. Since this does have a long rate of fire, and it doesn't, the animator doesn't have really that much damage overall, but with the rate of fire increase, it totally is a worthwhile weapon. But I don't really think that, honestly, I don't think the air bow barrel could probably increase the rate of fire. I've tried it once. I think it worked, I'm not sure, but the rate of fire is actually the highest. It's at max, so there's really no point in even, I guess, trying, I guess. Now, decoy upgraded is just like the well, where overused it will explode, but it's kind of annoying where if the enemy hits your decoy or figures out it is a decoy, it then proceeds to explode. That I find kind of just annoying. Number one, it just basically just stays there, and even if they hit it, they still know it's a decoy. They go on with their day, but some other idiot could come up and shoot that, and then you get maybe a double kill probably. Well, yeah, you could, but the decoy, when it explodes, what's the point? I mean, seriously, why? Okay, damage, yes, it will do damage to the enemy and kind of give me, if I'm even nearby the decoy, which I usually am not. I usually place the decoy in random positions, and usually at doors or something like that, to where I can just go ahead and go on with my day and kind of have the enemy get shown on my radar. Which, Now again, Scan Jammer probably does help a lot more than you think, because I can't be spotted and I can't be seen by thermal vision. So if I am flanking an enemy, there's no enemy that could probably be like, oh hey, there's some guy behind you, because they can't see me. That's the cool thing. And I can't honestly be even seen on the radar. I'm basically a ghost in this entire game. Not that ghost. I'm talking about like an actual specter, I'm an actual ghost that legitimately just walks around and haunts all the buildings and all the good stuff and all that nonsense. Well, anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and leave a like if you liked it, and I will be seeing you next video for my 10th weapon review. And until then,